Today we are on the unpopular opinions subreddit. And for people who don't know what the unpopular opinions subreddit is about, well, as you can see here, got a burning unpopular opinion you want to share? Spark some discussions. So basically, this is a subreddit for people to more or less post what they view as an unpopular opinion, and people can obviously then discuss what they feel about the unpopular opinion. And there are usually very cool and valuable, I think, discussions that can be had on this subreddit. This is a subreddit that I do browse semi frequently, and it's one of my more favorite ones to look at because there actually comes a lot of times where I kind of agree with the unpopular opinion, and sometimes I feel that the unpopular opinion isn't so unpopular. But anyways, we're gonna look at some unpopular opinions, and we're going to, we're just gonna go and see what we can see, and maybe pick out some of the ones that I enjoyed or I want to talk about, and then we'll just talk about and react to it. So let's get started. So the first one we have: the most annoying thing about the internet is that everyone assumes you are from the U.S. or know everything about the U.S. all the time. And you know what? I don't really know if this is really an unpopular opinion because a lot of the times I think people do assume that. Like, because people in America and in the U.S., they are very, how should I put it? But they believe that they are, like, obviously, because they live in the U.S., they believe they are, like, the most well-known, and everybody should know about the United States because of how important the United States is. And, I think that's just stupid. I'm from the United States myself, and I really don't like people who assume that, or not assume, but pretty much, like, require people to know stuff about the United States. And to me, that's just ridiculous. Like, why do people care so much about that? I mean, that makes no sense for me. And, I really don't feel this is very unpopular because a lot of people, in Europe and other countries, continents and other places, they get annoyed when Americans go out and, assume a lot of things. I mean, I don't really think this is a very unpopular opinion. I think this is just something that maybe people in the U.S. don't really care about or don't see or don't realize. But I think a lot of people around the world, I think they feel the same way. Just ignore the mean kids. Doesn't work, and the teachers know it. I don't really think this is very unpopular as well. Because I feel it's actually very true. I mean, a lot of the times, that's what people tell you, like, oh, ignore the bullies, right? Ignore the bullies. Don't give them attention because that's what they want. Don't react to anything they do, and just ignore them and tell an adult. And a lot of the times, in reality, when you ignore the bullies, all that does is make you an easier target. At least in my opinion, it makes you an easier target, because when you ignore them or you actively try to just not associate with them, it kind of gives the bullies, like, confidence, because they're like, okay, well, this guy, he's easy picking. He's not putting up any resistance. He's just trying to pretend we're not there. And a lot of bullies, what they want is attention. So when you're not giving them the attention, they're going to find bigger and badder ways to try to get that attention, right? A lot of people say, well, you don't give somebody attention and, they'll get bored eventually. No, they don't. No, they don't. People who want attention will get attention no matter what they have to do. And, that's just a sad reality. But yeah, I mean, this is something that I don't think is very unpopular as well. And I do think the teachers know it, right? They tell you all these things, they go on anti-bullying campaigns, but, all across, you still see people posting in it about people getting bullied and how they were harassed when they were in school. And, honestly, this is one of the bigger problems the United States have, and maybe in other countries. I mean, I don't know, but But yeah, American football is overly hyped and boring. Uh, I also don't think this is a very unpopular opinion. I think this person, Neeners, thinks it's an unpopular opinion because a lot of I think a lot of Reddit users are from the United States, and people from the United States, including myself, like American football or the NFL. Um, but this is definitely not an unpopular opinion because I know a lot of people don't really like the NFL around the world, at least, right? The NFL is really a sport that is really contained within the United States, right? You see other leagues pop up here and there all over the world, but nothing really happens. Those are very unpopular leagues. There's only a very small amount of people who play football or American football outside of the United States. Obviously the United States American football is one of the most popular sports in America. Um, and yeah, I like it. I mean, this guy, look, he rants on, about how it's boring. It's not free flowing like hockey or basketball. This guy says he's trying to get into football, but people are boring. And here, this guy makes an argument that, why don't people like watching hockey instead? And in my opinion, well, I like hockey as well, but he's saying how hockey is gritty, fast-paced, exciting, and talent-driven. It requires a vast amount of teamwork, awareness, and tactics. But the thing is, football, American football, they really have the same things. I mean, look, let's talk about it. Like, gritty. Is it gritty? I mean, if you count hockey checking somebody as gritty, then tackling somebody must be gritty. Fast-paced. Okay, fine. That's a fair argument. But come on. Hockey is a sport that the rules don't require you to stop after every play, right? Exciting, that's subjective. I mean, anybody can find different things exciting, so I can't really argue about that. Talent driven, like that's one of the biggest things, right? I don't think people realize how much being an American football player, how much of an athlete you need to be, right? I think people just assume that's just running with the ball or catching the ball or throwing the ball, and that everybody can do it. But the reality of the situation is that no, not everybody can do it. I certainly can't do it. A lot of grown men certainly can't do it. Or else there'll be hundreds and thousands of people making the NFL, which people don't. So this is something that I think requires more than just a little bit of watching. You really have to dive in. I mean, it takes more than just running and being able to hit hard to be a good football player. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, it requires a vast amount of teamwork. Well, I would assume all team sports require a vast amount of teamwork, whether they're playing basketball, soccer, hockey, baseball, and even football, American football, right? Because when you're talking about teamwork, right, let's just take the offense, for example. The quarterback has to coordinate the offense, has to make sure he's on the same page as the wide receivers, which usually there's 2 to 3 of, the tight end, and the running back, and at the same time, the offensive line. The quarterback has to be aware, right, aware of what's happening around him, aware of what the defense is playing, and you really have to be very smart in dissecting a defense, which also then counts into tactics, right? The defense schemes to play against you, and if you are a quarterback or whatever, an offense or defense, and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get burned, and it's pretty obvious. That's why there are good teams in football and why there are bad teams, right? All of these things you can find in American football. You can, and it's not just hockey. Let's be honest, all right? So, unpopular opinion. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but some of the points he makes aren't, at least in my opinion, aren't very good. But you know what? It's his opinion. There's no right or wrong, so we'll take it for what it is. Okay, well, that has been the unpopular opinion subreddit. We've looked at a good couple of posts, and I think I had a fun time. I had an enjoyable time looking at these. This is always a fun thing to do. And I encourage people to go on Unpopular Opinion subreddit and maybe talk and discuss and maybe you know, sometimes you read through some of these, and some people change your mind on certain things. And so yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe, and you know, maybe in the comments below put down what maybe your personal popular opinions are, and let's keep it civil in the comments. You know, opinions are opinions. You don't have to agree with them. Doesn't mean people are wrong. And let's keep it civil, and yeah, let's have a discussion maybe. So have a good day. Bye.